Good afternoon. My name is Del Rodriguez, and this is Flabonga Monthrothacube. With me today, I have, for the second time, Simon Lofts. Simon, thank you for coming back. I know
I'm
you're
I'm
messing with me.
joking.
I knew I could tell you. I could tell. I knew you were messing with me because I was about to freak out.
No, thank you for having me back. I really appreciate it.
uh,
Chance number two.
yeah.
Let's hope it all goes smoothly from a tech perspective at least.
Well, first and foremost, we're talking in real time, which is way better than last time. Happy for that. Um, I'm looking very orange today. I didn't. This was not planned, by the way. So like, I book rooms in our offices, and the secretariat tell me which room I'm in. It just so happens I'm in the room with the orange background, and I'm wearing an orange t-shirt. So
It
yeah,
suits you.
I don't plan these things. Thank you, thank you. All right, let's start with some. Let's start with the easy questions first.
Hmm.
So, who are you, and who do you work for?
Yeah, so I'm Simon Lofts, and I work for Allica Bank. And at Allica Bank, my title is Partnerships Manager for the South, and my role is essentially building relationships with accounting firms in the south of England, so all the way from Kent Coast to Land's End, and seeing how Allica can add value to their practice and ultimately support their clients with access to better business banking, whether that be current account side of things or if there are lending needs, lending requirements for commercial mortgages, asset finance, that kind of thing.
So many questions to follow up on just on that what you just said. I guess the
Okay.
first one I ask is, where does the south begin? And where does the north begin?
Oh
So
yeah,
you
this
did you
question
did
again.
east and west, but like where's the south stop? How far up are you going? Past Watford?
In terms of my remit, if you like, I go up to um, anywhere below London
Hmm.
or Greater London.
Hmm.
But then as we move west, I kind of go up to Oxford and
Okay.
Gloucester.
Okay.
And then that's about as far up as I go. But I can remember last time specifically saying that anything above the M25 is technically north in my mind.
I think
So
that's what every southerner says. In our ignorance, we say that if it's past the Watford Gap, it's the north. And all the people in the Midlands get angry because we don't acknowledge them as people or different people. And it is what it
yeah,
is.
very true. Very true.
Um, okay, next question. If I'm not mistaken, Allica is considered a challenger bank. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
What is a challenger bank?
Um, a challenger bank is a bank that wants to uh, challenge the status quo, very often challenge the incumbent banks, so your big six high street banks. And there's quite a lot of challenges now. They'll do that in various different ways. So you've got your kind of your everyday banking challenges
Hmm.
where their approach is very sort of digital experience focused, very app focused.
Hmm.
So you like Starling, Monzo, Tide, etc. And then you've got other challenges that will focus on the lending side of things. So you've got specialist lending banks that will help from an SME perspective, for example, with commercial mortgages, asset finance, short-term loans, that kind of thing. But they all tend to be quite technology driven,
Mm.
providing access to banking services in a potentially far more customer centric way, driven by technology, making things easier, faster, more efficient. Um,
I'm
and yeah,
biased. I'm a fan of the challenger banks. I tried starting my own business in 2020, and trying to open a bank account with a regular business bank couldn't happen. And I remember
right,
going to one of the challenger banks, taking a picture of myself on my phone, submitting my passport details, and boom, business bank account, job done. Like it was really
amazing,
easy. Took like a day, if
good,
that. Like
yeah.
yeah, way better. Thank you for introducing yourself professionally and humoring me and my silly questions. Let's go to the personal because people want to know who
Uh
you are. I'll ask some really
oh.
dumb kind of first date type question. Cats or dogs?
I used to be a dog person until my wife forced a cat upon our household, and now I'm kind of a bit more leaning towards cats. We think we got quite lucky. Our cat is awesome. Um,
What makes this cat
so
awesome?
He loves being around people, which is really sweet. So he'll follow you from room to room. If we go for a walk, he'll follow us all the way up the road until the main road. And he's good fun. He's good fun. But I still would love to have a Bernese Mountain Dog at
Isn't that
some
one of
point
those
in my
like
life.
really massive bear-like creatures?
Like
they're
Beethoven.
Yeah, they're massive. They're like 60 kilos,
Yeah,
70 kilos.
They're so cool. I would love to have one of those. Maybe when I've retired.
I like the idea of a dog that size being in my family, being part of the pack, but I'd also be ever so slightly scared of it because 60 kilos is not small. That's a very big dog.
Yeah, it is large. They seem mostly, obviously it depends on the owners and the temperament of the individual dog, but the Bernese Mountain Dogs seem quite docile, quite slow because they're so big that you'd be able to, maybe run away if the worst happened. But they're great dogs.
Marcus Batson, he's been on the show,
Nice one,
long-time
Marcus.
watcher. Big up the cat dads, he says. I take it, Marcus, you're a cat person. All right. Okay. Next type question: red wine or white wine, if you drink at all?
Yeah, red wine.
You didn't even hesitate. Boom.
I like white. White has a place, but the default of an evening will probably be red over white. White with meals, specific types of meals, but default drinking in front of the TV, definitely a red. How about you?
On that one, yeah, red wine usually. Prefer it with some steak. White wine again with certain meals, or in the last couple of days where it's just been ridiculously hot in the evening. I'm like a nice cold glass of white wine. It's crisp, refreshing.
Yeah, it's nice.
All right, another silly question. If you could eat one meat for the rest of your life, forsaking all others, what meat would you choose?
Chicken.
Chicken. Why the chicken?
It's versatile, and I just don't think I could give up chicken. I eat it more than any other meat. It's the right level of expense, and yeah, fried chicken. Like I couldn't give up fried chicken. I could give up steak. I could give up lamb. I think bacon, sausages would be hard to give up from a pork perspective. But
Spaghetti
I think
bolognese?
chicken.
Because no one's making that with chicken mince. Let's be honest. That's not going to taste right.
It's not going to taste right now. It's a good point. I'll stick with chicken though.
Fair enough.
What about you?
Sorry, Debbie Hales. Yay, I made it for the silly questions. Debbie, sometimes I do ask serious questions, by the way. Simon, what would you like next? A silly question or a serious question?
No, just go with the flow. Whatever comes to your mind first.
I'm going to go for a serious one because I've asked many silly ones, and just to spite Debbie as well.
Okay, cool.
All right, so you worked in the finance, bookkeeping / fintech space for a while as well. Coconut, you worked for them, and who else did you work for again?
I worked for Xero for several years, and I ended up working at Xero because I worked at HubDoc just prior to the acquisition all those years ago.
Okay, so
yeah, and Nook prior to Allica as well.
Nook, Coconut, HubDoc / Xero. Which one was your favorite and why to work at?
Yeah, that's such a difficult question, and I hadn't.
That's why I asked it.
Even thought you'd ask that.
Did you know I was going to ask that, or you weren't prepared for
that? No, I had no idea. That's such a difficult question. I would say because they came first and were my first experience in the kind of tech ecosystem within accounting, it would be HubDoc / Xero, and I was the other side of the world as well. So there was some perks to those jobs being in Australia and New Zealand. And I felt like that was a really good introduction to accounting firms, particularly in Australia and New Zealand, because they're quite tech savvy, proactive. It's not to say UK firms aren't, but just by the nature of Xero being in those geographies first, I felt like the firms then at the time were slightly further ahead. And yeah, Hubdoc and Xero, not to say any of the other companies weren't at all. Every company I've worked for has been an excellent employer, honestly. But yeah, Hubdoc and Xero were great companies to work for in terms of how they looked after people, the culture. And they're probably the first jobs I had where there was a bit more of a reaching mission and purpose, making lives better for people and small businesses and their advisors. That was my first introduction to a company that kind of had a mission like that I really bought into. So that made working there feel a lot less like work, which was cool.
Cool. For those who don't know, would you mind explaining what Coconut is? Or was?
Of course.
It's still active, so it is.
Still there. Coconut is a bookkeeping and tax app for sole traders, and later on when I was there, we started to look at landlords as well. So connect to the bank, bring in bank transactions, had this awesome feature where you could allocate to business or personal. So obviously a lot of sole traders will just use their personal bank account.
Yep.
And a big pain for accountants
for everybody.
is
for
everyone.
For that sole trader, for the accountant, but for everybody, it's a pain for everybody. Just get a separate bank account. Sorry, I'm interrupting what you're saying. I just want to look at the camera. If you're a sole trader, starting your own business, just open a separate bank account. It's not hard.
Yeah, it's so true. And
maybe get an Allica Bank account. No, they're not paying me to say that. Just thought I'd say it.
Yeah, for a sole trader, I reckon you might actually be better off with another challenger, and I can explain why later. But definitely look at a separate bank account for sure. But people don't like changing bank accounts, right? And I think it was 80% of sole traders used a personal account. So yeah, the neat feature was just really being able to swipe through, allocate business to personal, and make life a lot easier for yourself as a sole trader, but also the accountant that's going to do your self-assessment as well. So yeah, it helped with the bookkeeping side of things, and then we were building the tax filing side of things in preparation for MTD. Before that rug was pulled, unfortunately.
You kind of answered the next question. So Coconut had to slow down a little bit, and it was because basically the MTD ITSA rules changed or got pushed back, right?
Exactly.
This might be too much of a personal question to ask, but like how did it feel being in Coconut? Because there was a lot of hype around it, and it was projected to do lots of great things. And then, like you say, for circumstances beyond your control, the founder's control, Coconut had to scale back. How does it feel when you're working in, almost the sky's the limit, things are going to take off, startup / fintech, to, oh no. Unfortunately, we're going to have to maybe cut jobs. What kind of, how does that feel when you're in that situation?
Well, you've got it exactly right. Like things were absolutely flying for us ahead of the delay announcement, and it was really, really exciting place to be. And we were still a very small team, so we were doing, I think we were punching above our weight, really. So it was an awesome place to be. It was just very disappointing and sad when that all comes to what felt like an abrupt end. I know there were rumors about delay coming and things like that, but when you're in that frame of mind, you're just focused on doing what you're doing, and just trying to. The rumors of rumors. How could they possibly delay it again? It's not going to happen. And just keeping your heads down. So yeah, it felt really abrupt, and just sad and disappointing. And I think the main focus for all of us there, but outside of our own personal situations of potentially having to look for work, is, we've been looking at accountants as partners in the eye for the last year and a half, selling a dream, and we don't want to be another one of those apps that just disappears and leaves people having to find a new home for their sole traders and landlords, and all of the effort and rigmarole that comes with having to find new tools, and them telling their clients that the Coconut's not going to be around anymore, and how that might reflect on them. Big focus for us was how do we keep Coconut alive as a product, and ensure that partners and customers can continue using coconut without much interruption at all. So it was sad. It was laser focused on trying to ensure that coconut could survive as a product, and we succeeded. Or certainly Adam and Sam succeeded with that. So yeah, it was sad, really sad.
Thank you for answering the
But it
question,
lives
because I know
on.
it was quite personal and potentially emotional, so I really appreciate that. And what I really liked about your answer as well is like it really got me is like you you kind of made what's the word, a commitment to help the accountants you've been speaking to as well. Like you really felt that you're trying to help people and you didn't want to leave them in the lurch, which I think speaks volumes to your personal integrity and the integrity of the company. Yeah, because there's a lot of vendors and suppliers who are purely cash focused. You can't blame them. Money's money, but I think it makes a massive difference when vendors and their staff take the responsibility for like making it work. So yeah, thank you for taking the time to answer that.
Oh, no
I'm going to
worries.
jump to the comments real quick because Debbie has commented, and free agent comes with a NatWest account for free, so I'm hoping it's good. Debbie, there's an episode where I spoke to Dave Norwell, it's literally 2 or 3 weeks ago. He's from Free Agent, and we talk about it. My one bit of advice is, it's controversial. Don't go with NatWest, go with Metal. Metal is their version of a challenger bank. It's faster, it's quicker, it connects better. NatWest have got some really out-of-date systems that make everyone, I say everyone, me, angry. Everyone. I want to go back to something you said as well in the previous answer. When I said you should maybe try Allica if you're a sole trader, you said actually maybe they should try a different challenger bank. Why is that? What's the difference?
Yeah.
You'd recommend someone else?
So at Allica, we are really focused on what we call established businesses. So like sort of guidelines for you. It's not criteria. 500,000 turnover plus, around 5 employees plus. The reason being that these are the segment of SMEs that have felt the pains the most in the change of the banking landscape over the last 10 to 15 years or so. They are a segment that really falls through the cracks in the sort of the high street banks, main sources of revenue, if you like, or biggest focuses. So you've got consumers like me and you. Yep. The banks are really, really good at serving, the high street banks. An example that one of our execs always uses that, me and you might go out on Christmas Eve, buy all our presents last minute, along with millions of other people, and nothing ever goes down. All our payments go through successfully. So that they're really good at consumers that have high volume of very, very simple transactions. And then at the other end, they've got their corporates. So like where there might be tens of thousands of those businesses like Vodafone, etc., where the banks really roll out the red carpet for them. If you're a medium-sized business, actually, if you're a micro business, the consumer platform is probably just about right for you. So again, the high street banks are quite good from a micro SME perspective, but the middle businesses, the M and the SME, fall through the cracks. They are slightly more complex than a micro business and consumer, with ownership structures, the compliance input from a sort of KYC AML perspective, and the ongoing due diligence, but probably not seen as valuable enough as the corporate clients belonging to the bank. So they sort of fall through the cracks, and that comes through in I think it's 140,000 SMEs were debanked last year.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot.
Many.
Yeah, it is. And for those that's still with the bank that they bank with, they need more support from the bank. They want to be able to speak to someone at the bank, but they'll go through the same routes to talk to someone that you and I will through call centers, everything like that. Their lending requirements are more complex. They need access to bigger, more complex lending like commercial mortgages and asset finance, as opposed to say credit cards. So that's why we're really focused on them. That's quite a long way of saying that's why.
Thank you for doing the analogy, because it really helps when you mentioned like you said, the last minute Christmas shopping. It works for like standard people. That was a weirdly specific analogy though. Have you done that before? And who have you done it for most recently? Who's the last person you've had to rush out to get a Christmas present? And if you say your wife, I won't tell her. It's fine.
She might be watching this at some point. Yeah, do you know what's sad, isn't it? Probably the people closest to you are sometimes the ones that are last. I'd say probably my wife was. Yeah, she always seems to be last. Should probably change that, really.
I mean, does
But,
she know she's lost, or just
probably
now?
because we team up on everyone else's presents, right? And she's super organised, and probably my wife is the only one that I'm solely responsible for. So that gets pushed to the last minute. And I'm really struggling to remember what I got her for Christmas last year, actually, which is bad as well. But
I'm sure
yeah.
she
How
remembers.
about you? Who's last on your list?
Who's last on my list? Um, it's my dad, if I'm honest.
Okay.
He's really hard to buy for. He's almost 70 years old. He has
Mhm.
everything he wants. He's semi-retired, and for the most of my life, he's always told me, "Don't buy him anything. I don't want anything." Gifts are not his love language. He prefers
Yeah, right.
time, right? Like me
Okay.
and my dad can hang out and we'll cook a meal together. Loves that. Buy him something,
Nice.
he'd be like, "I don't want it." So he's really hard to buy for, and I'm not gonna lie, there's a few times where I've forgotten him. I
Oh,
know, I know.
lucky it's not his love language then.
Yeah, but still, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
It
So
does
you
make me
definitely
want to
go
buy.
down the experience route for gifts for your dad then.
Yeah. For his 60th, we did the what do you call it? That show with Jeremy Clarkson where he drives a lot.
Oh,
I should know the name.
Grand Tour.
Top Gear. Sorry, the original one, Top
Oh,
Gear, right?
oh,
Sorry,
Top
yeah.
Gear.
We did the Top Gear experience track. Again, he kind of liked that.
Oh,
And
cool.
I've inherited that, by the way. I am also terrible with gifts. I don't want any gifts. I don't need any gifts. And when it comes to near my birthday or Christmas time, I end up making a large purchase for myself, and everyone goes, "There, we could have chipped in for that or got it for you." I'm like, "I'm good." Very hard to
I'm
buy
kind
for.
of the same. I always said like an age thing. As you get older, you just want less stuff, don't you? And time becomes more important to you. Um,
100%.
mm.
100%. Hold on. Debbie's made another comment. Talking about banks again. I've been with NatWest forever, never heard of metal, so sounds like I've got some research and watching to do. I mean, Debbie, your business is closest to the M side of the SME scale, if I don't remember correctly. Maybe have a look at Allica. Again, they're not paying me to say this. They should be. No, I'm joking. Sorry. That's um, question for you. You mentioned the changing in the banking landscape after the last 10, 15 years. Could you maybe summarize what that change was or why so many SMEs got caught out?
um, yeah, well, maybe I'll do my best. Um, I think that we we've seen closure of high street branches. Um, we've seen the concept of a local bank manager um, slowly petering out over time,
Mm,
um, and it's a bit of a, I think it's a structural problem for the banks where I've talked about at length, so I won't go on any more about it. The sort of the M and SME is just not a focus for them. They're, like I said, good at the consumers, good at the corporates, and I think we've seen that change. The high street branch is not necessarily related directly to SMEs, but we're seeing high street banks retrench, I think, from SMEs a little bit. And that's some of the biggest changes. Obviously, introduction of challenger banks more recently. There's some big changes there, but I think when you're talking to an established business, particularly one that's of a particular age, they would have been used to having a bank manager before
yep.
that they don't have anymore. They might be turning over 2, 3, 4, £5 million. And to speak to someone at the bank, they've got to go through a call center. They don't talk to the same person every time. They might not be speaking to the person they need to speak to when they call the bank. And that is probably not good enough in terms of service level that business needs. So I think that's generally high level. I think the change in the banking landscape. Yeah.
Thank you for explaining. For the next question, would you like a fun question or a mean question?
Well, if I say fun, does the mean one then follow up, or does that mean that I've avoided the mean one completely?
I make no guarantees, if I'm honest, but it means that the mean one might be forgotten because I can only process one question at a time, and then I might forget what the mean question was.
Cool. And we've only got 6 minutes left as well, so I'll go with the fun one, and then hopefully you forget or we've run out of time.
That's about right. Cool. So I asked you, like, where is your favorite place to work out of all the fintechs you worked in, Hubdog/Zero? Who is the coolest person that you worked with? Like, bar none. Who's like, man, they're so cool.
There are honestly so many people that I've worked with where I'm like, teach me everything you know, because you seem very wise and you're a great person, and I'd love to be more like you. So this comes with the caveat that there are lots, but just one person in particular, because they stand out. And they were invited to our wedding. They're a Kiwi, so they flew all the way over for that, and they did a speech at our wedding. So it's a friend of mine called Kololo, who I worked with at Xero in New Zealand. Do you want to know why, or is that enough?
I would love to know why. Yes, please.
Yeah. Just one of those people that you stumble across in life and you think, how are you such a great person in terms of how they look out for other people, the support that they just want to give to others. He was massively passionate about financial literacy for the Maori community and Pacific Island community in New Zealand. So he did adult education on the side as a side gig when he was at Xero, teaching people about financial literacy from a personal perspective, business perspective. And then he left Xero to set up a training company. So they go into corporates now to offer financial literacy training, amongst loads of other types of training for life skills, tech, all of that kind of stuff for individuals in the companies that need access to that kind of education. And so he's got a very successful business now doing that. And it's just testament to the kind of person that he is, his passion, his drive for helping others.
That's awesome. No, I get what you mean. Like, there's some people who are just that person. So yeah, I get it. I get it. I've remembered my mean question. Do you want to hear it?
Okay, cool.
I mean, it just looks really cool. I'm going to jump to the comments again. Debbie wants to hear it. Eek. Who are you going to upset? Again, you don't have to answer. I'm aware it's a mean question.
Dale.
Do I ask it? Because I don't want to upset you.
You can upset me.
No, rather not, though. You're a nice guy. You've taken time out of your day to come talk to me. Like,
go on.
Right.
Go on.
Do you think Xero dropped the ball after they acquired HubDoc?
In regards to HubDoc, I don't think they dropped the ball. The intention was definitely the right intention. I just think that, fully integrating two products, built on different platforms, all of that kind of stuff is a difficult thing to do. And I would say, obviously I've not worked at Xero for quite a while now, but watch the space. I know it's been a few years, but I know they continue to work on it, and our dream was to always see HubDoc just inside Xero without even realizing there was a separate product. So I'm sure that we'll see that over time as well. So perhaps on the outside it felt like maybe things were quite slow, but on the inside there was lots of hard work going on.
Thank you for humouring me. I realised that was quite a mean question to ask you. So,
it was quite.
Yeah.
I respect
we've got
it.
like 2 minutes left. Again, I'm going to give you another option. Do you want to ask me a question, or do you just want to go out on a nugget, a bombshell of wisdom? Your choice.
I'll ask you a question.
Go for it.
How is it being an advisory board member at Dext so far? And congratulations again on your appointment.
Thanks. It's genuinely quite fun and enjoyable. Helping kind of like guide Dext to some extent on like direction and development is really helpful. And it's going to sound really corny. Feeling listened to is nice. Like you mentioned before, like so many fintech providers, they're doing a lot better now. But like they want to partner, and it feels like Dex are partnering with me and others. By the way, I'm not the only person on this advisory board. By the way, there's other accounting firms, bookkeepers who are giving feedback, and it's a good idea because it just means everyone wins. Decks make a product that their clients want, and their clients get what they want from the product,
Mhm.
and there's not money wasted or time wasted on developing in the wrong direction. So it's generally quite fun and enjoyable. A little bit technical sometimes, but yeah, I'd recommend more fintech suppliers do it if they can. Um, yeah, there's a lot
Nice.
of people in the space who are willing to do
Mm.
it. Like I do, it's a voluntary role for me, but I'm not paid to do it. So yeah, I think it's a
I
good
think
thing.
it's awesome. Yeah, big fan of advisory boards. Like I said to you before we started, I think they're invaluable.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for humouring me, answering the important questions. You've shared a lot of knowledge. Debbie and other people watching this, I think they're going to look into challenger banks and all that kind of stuff. Allica are super
Great.
lucky to have you because like you've got a wealth of experience, and I'm just really grateful you took time out of your day to speak with me. I'm going to hit end stream.
Thanks for having me
Please smile for the next 10 to 15 seconds because there's like a little button
on.
that it does.
Could do that.
But yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much, Dale. Appreciate it.